Hello. I just wanted to go over and give a brief overview of what this Python program does, and in this program I'm using SQLite. So I just kind of start by connecting to the database and setting the connection object to the cursor, and then I have a while loop running, and basically if you enter in 5, it just quits the program. Otherwise, if the choice equals 1, it goes into the database and selects all the columns, and then from the database employees, and then it orders it by pay, which is one of the columns. It sorts it by pay, starts with the highest and goes down, and that's what that descending is. And then it'll just print it out, and I'll show you that real quick. It displays employees, and I have Sue and Tim currently in. Next, you can add an employee, and we'll call him Jerry, and his title is like MTK marketing, and his pay is like, we'll call it 120,000. So now he's in there and we can display him. But it turns out I accidentally put in his pay incorrectly. So if I hit 3 and I type in his name, Jerry, so we can switch his pay to, let's say, 100,000. He is making too much. And then if I display that, he's now in second place, making 100,000. Next we can delete him. So Tim was accidentally added to the system. He's only making $10, and that's just not an actual employee. So we're gonna press 3, and it deletes. So if we display him now, it doesn't show him at all. I'll just go through and walk through the code real quick. So if the choice equals 2, we're gonna get all 3 of the inputs for the employee, and then we're actually gonna set it. We're gonna set it into a tuple, and then when we pass it in, when we call the cursor object, which is our SQL database, and we use insert, we pass in the tuple right here, and then it'll insert the values into a new row, and then we commit it. If we don't commit it, it'll make these changes, and then they won't go through, and nothing will happen. And then there's an error if it doesn't go through. This one's very similar, except instead of insert, we use updates, and we just set the pay for whatever name they pass in. And we pass in those values using a tuple as well. And then 4 is a little bit more tricky. We go through and so first we check if the name equals done. And if that happens, then we can't really do anything. But we get the name from them, and then we pass in the values, and this was a tricky error, but if you just pass a name, it won't work. It has to be set in as a tuple like this, or there's just a weird error and the whole program shuts down. But then we execute delete where name equals this, and then the connection, we just commit it, and otherwise it won't go through into the database. And then we also have up here when it gets the name, there's just a little bit of code. We have to get the length of results. If it equals 0, then we just print out an error. Otherwise, we go through and just print everything out, and that's how we do that. So that's the whole database, or that's the whole program. Thanks for watching, and just let me know if you have any questions.